Why are we always
We
like
go.
laughing our asses off before these?
I don't know. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, hey, guys, how's it going? Can
Good.
you hear me?
Good. We're just having a weird discussion about what we should call our followers and can't really come up with anything good.
Let's see.
Like
Well,
jammers.
it ages better than what these girls. We had a group of girls when our band first started who called themselves the Higher Hose, and that really didn't age well. So we never
Definitely
we never
not.
promoted that, but they all still have higher tattoos.
Well, at least they got that.
You
I mean,
know,
they kind of had them
I
back in
mean
the
that's
day
all they
then,
got.
and
You know, so
it's permanently on your body, so
they're stuck with it now. All those all those great decisions we all made.
I don't know. I didn't make any terrible decisions back in those days.
Oh, you're lying. You have the scar from your belly button ring.
No, no belly run ring. I didn't even have I didn't even have I had my nose pierced. That was about it. I
Yeah.
was a tame emo kid.
Oh, that is pretty tame. I'm pretty tame too. I have no piercings or tattoos, so
Yeah, I don't
I'm
have any tattoos either, so Chris
I'm the
does.
odd man out. Here we are together.
Look at that.
Look at that. No tattoos and still enjoying emo.
My mom would have flipped out. I really wanted my lip pierced, but she would have flipped out on me.
Yeah, I was with Mormon parents, so they wouldn't have been very cool with that. But yeah, I definitely wanted my lip pierced, but it was like three of the guys in my band already had that at the time. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to be another one of you. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Chris, did you have any piercings back then?
No, it was never
No,
my thing.
no. You just got tattoos and that's it.
I mean, I got tattoos way later on though.
Oh, it's true. Then you were a non-tattooed emo kid back in the day, but now you have tattoos.
Yeah, I think I got my first one when I was like 22. And then between my first one and my next one, there was like a 6 year gap. But since then, it's been like a couple every year.
yeah, you
Oh,
were just saving money. You were a kid spending all your money on concerts. Now, you have money to spend on tattoos.
and
Um,
concerts.
And
kind of.
no, no, not you got to choose wisely.
I don't know.
How much
Chris
concerts
has
cost
way
these
more.
days?
He's got way more concerts he's going to than I am.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
why
got
you make
careless for the summer.
that's why you make a podcast so you can get on people's guest lists. You know?
I hope so, but I don't
Yeah,
ask. I don't ask.
you don't waste that clout. You've
Don't
earned
waste
it.
that clout.
Yeah,
It's true.
you can
It's
get
true.
in. We have no one to put on the guest list these days, anyways. We're just old, so I've got like my mom and my kids,
It's true. There are
my
some
girlfriend.
bands that have come back, and I mean, they don't really know that many people probably anymore. So,
Well, at that point, people think, oh yeah, they've got so many people on their guest lists, I won't ask them. So
right. Well, if you guys come to Wisconsin anytime soon, I'll
yeah,
remember
you
that.
guys are on. You guys are on the guest list. You just have to ask.
We got to go to Syracuse for Chris though.
Yeah, okay, Syracuse.
You probably don't
Party.
want to come here.
I
No.
mean, I'm down. For the right amount of money, I will go anywhere.
It's true. I'd go
Yeah, just
anywhere.
at that Charlotte Sand show, I bet you all the uh like guest permissions were used up on the opener's parents and soccer mom posse that showed up.
Yeah,
That was
there's nothing wrong with the
insane.
soccer mom posse. They have the minivan, so you need a designated driver.
It's
Hey,
true.
mom.
I drove my friend's minivan once, and that was about it.
My girlfriend in high school, her mom had a minivan, and it was a goal of ours to get that thing to peel out. And never
Never
happened.
happened.
No. No, that Ford Windstar did not have the power for that.
I bet the minivans nowadays have way more juice going on.
Oh yeah,
They could peel out, Chris. Good thing
yeah.
though. You don't need a minivan though, Chris, right?
No. No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
I do.
That's not happening.
I've got three kids, so I need a minivan.
You need a minivan with some power.
Yeah, I do.
Just put
That
a
way it can also be our tour van. We got rid of the 15 passenger and now we'll just do it in the minivan.
Sure, why not? Just put like an LS engine in there from a Corvette and you're good to go.
Yep. That's what
That'd
we
be
called
sick.
our last tour, was the Pathfinder the West tour, because we did it in my Pathfinder.
Nice. Pathfinder tour.
Now
The
I want a sleeper
Pathfinder.
minivan. A sleeper minivan would be awesome.
Right?
I
I'd be
tried
down with the
sleeping.
sleeper.
Tried sleeping in my car, or was it a friend's car in a parking lot in a gas station in the middle of nowhere, and it was super sketchy.
It always is.
It always is.
It's
And I
better when
get
you have like 5 other guys in there with you, so that, people don't really want to mess with, a van full of dudes.
it's true. But they probably
They'll
did
smell it.
or would. Well, you don't want to smell it either. I've been in some vans,
Yeah.
some band vans, and yeah.
Yeah. We don't keep it as clean as it is in the movies.
No. All right. Well, enough van talk.
Yeah.
Ah, so if you could just please introduce yourself and, let people know who you are again, since it's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm the much older version of Seth from The Hire. And now we are putting out some new music, and we've got things happening. And so we're coming out of our little emo caves and joining the digital world.
And after such a long time away from the band, could you walk us through the decision to reform and start creating music again?
Well, I mean, it comes, I mean, actually from this album that we just released. During COVID, we had all just had been in contact with each other. We're all friends, and over the years, so many of our friends' bands getting back together, and we always had teased the idea of maybe playing a show or putting more music out, but we had never really had the opportunity, because all of us have, we all live separately from each other as far as state-wise, and we don't get a chance to see each other very often. And COVID happened, and it gave us the opportunity. We all had the time off, and we all had a little bit of money in our pocket, and so we said, hey, we've all got these ideas. Why don't we meet up in LA and put them together? So once it was safe to go to LA, we kind of thrown around the ideas of what we wanted to do. And our friend Rafa Alvarez, he is the guy who produced the newest record that we just released. And honestly, when we recorded it, we were just like, hey, let's just record as many songs as we can. And this is all demos, because we weren't going to spend a lot of money in getting the studio with drums and the full band until we knew what songs were right for it. And so we all met up and recorded about, I don't know, 10 or 15 little tracks. And then we disappeared again for a couple months, until they were like, hey, let's pick a couple of these songs and release them. So our friend at Secret Friends Music Group, he just kind of said, hey, let's put this stuff out. It's just sitting here. Let's do something with it. And so we teamed up with him, and we made an EP, and we re-recorded that with Mike Pepe. And that came out maybe about a year ago. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun and growing old. But we released that, and it got a lot of the old Hire fans interested. And then we were like, okay, I guess, people remember who we are, and this could be fun. So we played a couple of shows, and it was a lot of fun, and played a couple festivals. Those were all fun. And so we said, let's put out the rest of the music that we had recorded, during COVID, because we had just released 5 songs, but let's release those 5 songs in their demo form. And then maybe the other 5 demos that we had, kind of thought about releasing. And now you have a record that we just released. I guess it was Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now we got new music for people to hear, and the reaction has been all really great and positive. And I mean, honestly, we aren't putting like a ton of money into it. We kind of just wanted to see if people were interested, and it seems like they are. So I mean, in our mind, we're just kind of excited to see what this next year will bring for us. And maybe play some more shows.
Yeah.
We do have a Vegas show that's going to happen on May 11th here in Vegas at a park, which we kind of wanted to do something that could be all ages, just because we know that some of the emo fans of ours have kids now, and some of our songs, particularly Histrionics and some of those, we get messages all the time from old Higher fans saying, "You have new Higher fans. Look, my kids love your music." And so this is going to be kind of like a cool opportunity to get everyone together and, reminisce and play the old Higher stuff.
Yeah, the new record Hidden Places, it does have some really great new songs that you guys released, but it also includes like the remix of Elvis in Wonderland. And then
Yep.
you also have 4 reimagined songs. Now, what contributed to the decision to reimagine those songs from
Well,
that
I would
record?
actually say that they're reimagined backwards because that's honestly, those were the demos. That was we had thought originally about just releasing this record that you're getting right now right away, and Mark over at Secret Music Group, he convinced us to do the whole band, get us all together, and make this a full band and sound like the Higher. So we did pick our 5 songs that we thought would be the best for the EP, and we made that EP. But now the reimagined is kind of, these are how the songs would have sounded if we hadn't re-recorded them.
Right.
So I guess the reimagined is kind of in a backwards way what the original demos were.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of bands reimagine songs because they were on like old record labels,
Yep.
ticket, and then you reimagine them so that you can still own them again.
Well, this isn't a cash grab by any means for us. I
No.
mean, we're not making any money, but we're having fun, and the people that are listening to it are enjoying it. And you know, those songs just would have gone wasted in my mind. So I was like, we need to put them out. Let who wants to hear them and have them and listen to them and be able to access them on Spotify and iTunes and the things that these kids are already paying for. I mean,
Right.
might as well throw some Higher on their emo mixes, and who knows, maybe it'll stir up enough fans that want to see us that it will warrant more shows and more music. I mean, we have plans on making more music, so you know, let's have some fun. That's kind of the idea behind it all.
Right. Gotta have
Now
fun.
Gotta have
I'm
fun.
I'm I'm curious because you mentioned, COVID happened when you could finally go to LA together. You finally went out there and you recorded all those songs. What was how different was production doing these tracks versus the back in the mid 2000s?
Well, I would say very different in the process because back then we treated the Higher like a full-time job all day long, every day. We didn't have kids, responsibilities, any of that stuff. So we would all meet down at the practice place, which we had like a really awesome spot that was a warehouse behind our guitarist Tom's dad's lawyer's office. And it was downtown Las Vegas, so we could play all night. So we would show up there around 4:20 every day was call time for work. No special reason for that. We just would meet there around 4:20. We would usually get to work around 4:30 because it'd be about 10 minutes to talk amongst ourselves. And then we would honestly jam out all night long. And so we would perfect those songs live in person next to each other. This time we all showed up with ideas and then we just tracked it. We just said, hey, it was so in the studio for the most part was myself, our guitarist, Robert Reagan, we call him Reggie, and then our bass player, Jason Centeno, who we called him Face. And all 3 of us used to just go to the studio, track some songs, hear them back, go the next day, make some changes, track new stuff, and just kind of kept working that process. And then we brought in our friend, our old guitarist, Tom Oakes, who he had left the band right before It's Only Natural. but he had done his own project called More Amor, which is a really great band. And if you like emo music, you should check that out. But he put out some stuff and he was like, hey guys, I have some songs that I think would be really great for the Hire. And I mean, he is the guy who wrote Histrionics. He is the guy who wrote Rock My Body. So he wrote some of the bangers in the Hire, 31 Floors, a lot of really good songs. And so we were like, yeah, let's do that. He came into the studio and we recorded a couple of those songs. And it felt great to have the core 4 of us that were the writers before just all together. And so it just really felt like the Hire was actually back together. I will say that, all of us have so much going on with our lives that, not all of us were interested in touring and doing all that kind of stuff, but it was very coincidental that we were all able to come together to write for this. And so what you're getting is the original Hire, and you're getting, maybe what the next record would have been if Tom Oakes wouldn't have left the band. But, that's what happens with time. We all grow up and grow apart, but then grow up and grow back together. So it was really cool. I think it was honestly just full circle kind of experience that we wanted to have with it, because it felt very organic.
Right. We're seeing that a lot, that with bands that kind of disappeared and have come back, it's like, it's just life. Life happened and
Yeah.
families
Well,
happened, and you just had to take a little hiatus and then you came back.
yeah, emo music, we were all still listening, but you know what I mean? All the bands stopped touring for a little while. And we thought, hey, maybe that way we all had a really great run, and some of the mainstream emo bands might keep making records, but Warped Tour's no more, and all these things were just kind of turning us into classical rock. And then out of nowhere, people were like, hey, we had a lot of time in this digital world. We're ready for live music again.
Right.
And I think that's really what's brought emo music, rock music, even back from where it's been in these last couple of years, is now it's just people are ready for that energy again. They're done sitting in their house listening digitally. It was great for a couple of years, but now people are ready to get out there. You know what I mean? And see the concert live and hear the music and see the people who are really playing their instruments. And I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it. That festival that they're doing here in our town, the When We Were Young festival, that is the new Warped Tour for us. When you live in
Right.
Las Vegas, it's like we get to reminisce with all those bands, which is amazing.
Any hopes to be on one of those in the
Oh God,
future?
I wish. Our band, so it is hard to get on that. And there are so many bands that are actually touring that, to be honest, I don't think it would make sense for the Hire to be on it, unless they were like, oh shit, this band fell off and we need a band to fill their place last minute. The Hire would be perfect for that. Because we live in Las Vegas and we could do it last minute. But I think it's just due to the fact that all of those other bands that you're seeing on When We Were Young are still touring. So there's a reason to push their records and a reason to push their music. With us right now, we're not touring as much, so it probably doesn't make as much sense. Though if they asked us to do it, we'd do it for free and in a heartbeat. So it's, we'll be there. All my friends will be there. You know what I mean? It's kind of funner sometimes to go to those concerts and not be playing, because then if I'm playing that concert, I have the stress of worrying where I need to be and all that kind of stuff. If I'm not playing, I actually get to go see all these bands, and I
Sure.
want to, you know. So
Yeah.
What
Definitely
about
true.
any other kind of festival or tour, like
well,
Sad Summer Fest or
Mike Zemer is our boy down in Texas, and sometimes he throws us a lot of help with the festival kind of stuff. I think that he had been talking about adding us possibly to the next year for So What, which I think would be dope. We got a chance to play it not last year but the year before, and it went really well for us. I thought it was really awesome, and it seems like we have a lot of fans in Texas, and so I'm hoping that the next come around, I think that we'll probably be on that. We definitely are playing that festival here in Vegas. That's on May 11th, and we've submitted ourselves for a couple things. You know, we'll see what pans out. People
Right.
that want to see where we're playing and kind of know that need to just add us on Instagram and you know, give us the reason. Give us the reason to be out there. Tell us where you are and you want to hear the hire. And it's good to hear, you know, from those fans and where they are and where they want us. Cause I mean, if we can make it happen, we'll do it. So
Well, you know, I want to hear you in Wisconsin, so.
that's right. We want to come to Wisconsin in the summer.
Gotta come.
We definitely don't want to go there in the winter, but we definitely want to come there in the summer.
Yes, yes. But the winter wasn't that bad this year.
Was it? Okay.
Actually, I don't
It's
know.
been a while
At
since
least
we've been,
southeast Wisconsin, that's where I live, near
I always
Milwaukee.
felt, I always felt like it was like the hires like luck or doom to ourselves where we always like to go like the mid northwest right around like January and February just so we could, you know, have a
Yeah.
chance to play that Russian roulette on the roads, the black ice.
Russian roulette.
Yep, it feels like it sometimes when you're on like we definitely had a couple experiences when there was once we were in Columbus, Ohio, and we hit black ice and it's van and trailer. And once you hit that ice, our car just started turning. Van and trailer, and we were backwards in the little area that is in between the roads. So we were basically facing all the oncoming traffic who was about to hit that black ice.
Mm.
And so it was probably the scariest night of our lives because we could either wait outside of the van in the freezing cold and die of hypothermia, or we could sit in the van and just hope that nobody else hits the same spot we did and crashes into us. That's why the hire likes to tour in the summer. That's
It's a
why
good
we're from Las
reason. It's a
Vegas.
good reason.
It is. It is a good reason. I like Wisconsin though. There were fun kids there. We always had a good time.
Yeah. It's pretty good here for the most part.
Yeah.
Besides winter.
Yep. Well, you know,
I do. So
can't help it.
taking a step back, not talking about, you know, winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The latest record, did you have a favorite song that you produced that you're most proud of on that
I would
record?
say that probably Over Barcelona is my favorite. I mean, I really have big hopes for that song. I really thought that when we put that together, it was like very much the direction that I saw the hire going if we would have put out more records right after It's Only Natural. It's Only Natural definitely took a step into the more R&B sounding emo. We very much listened to mostly R&B when we were in the hire. We tried our hardest not to listen to bands that we were told or we could tell were in similar sounds or genres as us. And we did that on purpose just because we didn't want to try to write something and accidentally write something that could sound similar to those bands. We wanted to set ourselves apart, but also I think our musical interests changed quite a bit. And at that time we were less listening to punk and rock and we were listening to a lot more pop and R&B.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that It's Only Natural kind of went that way. Now that we have all that time behind us, I would actually say that the hire when we did our EP, we actually leaned in more towards the rock sound of it because I think that's what we now are missing and listening to and listening for. And so I think Over Barcelona personally is my favorite just because it still has that R&B vibe that I enjoy, but at the same time, it still has a very higher sound to it.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's my favorite off of the record. Yep.
Yeah. It's
I'll
one of
hold
my
strong to that.
favorites. I also like Tinted Towers.
Do you? I love Tinted Towers. That the bridge that we did for Tinted Towers is was very feel like we were very much trying to do something, and I think that if we would have re-recorded that song particularly, that something would have happened different with that bridge. But now when I hear it back and like listen to it, that song is actually really become one of my favorites too. I think it has really strong like chorus to it, and it has a cool like vibe about it. It was actually written by our guitarist Reggie and Jason Centeno. And I think when Face was writing some of those lyrics, he was writing it because he was living at the time in New York in a tinted tower.
Hmm.
And so it has a lot of like, I think, sentimental value to him because it's a very personal song. And I think it shows through on that song.
Yeah,
So
I really enjoy it.
I do too. I do too.
And you were on the fence, but now you really enjoy it.
Well, no, I see. Well, I loved the song, but when it came to that bridge, I was like, we had these thoughts for it, and once I heard it played back to me, I was like, man, I wish we would have been able to do this. There was another idea we had for it. I wish we would have been able to do that other idea with it, because I think those two sounds conjoined would have sounded really great. But honestly, we've gotten a lot of really good feedback from Tinted Towers. So I think it's a lot of the times we have demoitis, like where we like hear our songs and think of them this way and then don't hear them for a year. And then we're like, oh yeah, let's release that. And then I'm like, I look back at it and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. But it's one of those things where you can't just pick apart it all. You have to just let the music go, let the people hear it, and then think about what's next. Because, if you hold on to too much of that, sometimes it takes away like something that could have been special that maybe you didn't know was going to be special. So, and look, it's your favorite song. So maybe you liked that bridge a lot.
Maybe I did. I must have.
You must have.
So in 2020, you guys did record an NSYNC cover, Bye Bye Bye.
We did. Guilty.
Is there a reason you decided to just do that
Well, we
and
wanted
have
to
fun
say
with
bye.
it?
Well, we wanted to say bye, bye, bye to that year because it was a horrible year. I mean, I think we can all sit and agree on that it wasn't like the best year. And we had told people that we were going into the studio, and we did. We went in and we recorded these demos that we have now, but we didn't have anything to release. And then we had made the executive decision that we were going to re-record some of the songs and do the EP. But that just takes time. And we had promised people music, and I was like, all we have is this cover of Bye Bye Bye, but it was never released. We actually I think we recorded it for the Pop Goes Punk, or the Fearless puts those Punk Goes Pop stuff out. And if you want to hear like a backstory of the Higher, when we were signing with Epitaph Records, we had 3 or 4 labels that were interested in us. So we were talking with Drive Through Records, we were talking with Fuel by Ramen, we were talking with Epitaph, and we were talking with Fearless. And once we had kind of narrowed it down to where we thought we wanted to be, it was in between Epitaph and Fearless at the time. And when we made the decision to go with Epitaph, I really think that Fearless, especially the guy we were talking with at Fearless, was very sad, and understandable, because he had put in a lot of work to get us on their label. And it's just the way the cookie crumbled and the way the things worked out that we ended up not signing with them. But we were always such a huge fan of Fearless, and we always thought, oh, they will let us do this. And then we sent them our submissions twice and never got any word back. So we think that maybe we may have upset them.
Maybe a little.
And it's okay. We still ended up releasing that cover of Closer on It's Only Natural. That was our Neo cover. And then we were like, well, we have this Bye 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 one. We might as well release it. So.
And it just so happened that it was in 2020 when everyone wanted to say
I mean,
goodbye to COVID.
Yes, they did. They sure wanted to. little did we know we would have held on to it, another year for the NSYNC reunion. But
you can always do another one, another
I'm
cover,
ready. I'm ready and willing.
another
I've
NSYNC
got
cover.
I've got every NSYNC song in the bag and ready to go.
Yeah, what song would you pick if you had to choose one right now?
If I had to, oh God, I mean, it'd probably be Gone because we've been gone a long time. You like
There you
that?
go. There you go.
I
Getting
would have to say
ideas.
Gone. Yeah,
Gone.
But it's also only 2 weeks until May.
you are right. If we were going to release it in May, there's only one song that we could have done.
It's gonna be
It's gonna
May.
be May. Yep.
I'm
I'm
so
so
you
stoked on their new stuff, by the way. Oh man. I really hope NSYNC gets a record after Justin's done having his comeback, but
Yeah, his
that's neither here
comeback.
nor there.
He's the
so you
problem.
Is
you
he the
mentioned being
problem? Oh, you read Britney's book?
No, I did not, but he is the problem.
Is he? I mean, I thought Diddy was the problem.
I don't know.
You
There's a
don't
lot of
know?
problems. More money,
There's
more
a lot of
problems.
problems in Hollywood. We got to come back and make Hollywood right again.
So you mentioned the one festival there in Vegas, but do you have any other plans or hopes for a late summer or fall tour maybe?
I would love to tell you that there's plans, and I would love to tell you that there's hopes, but there's nothing that I have to tell you. So, I mean, yes, I would say there's more hopes than plans right now. So,
More hopes than plans.
more hopes than plans. That's the title of our new record that will be coming out next year.
More
More
hopes than
hopes than
plans.
plans. Damn, what we wasted a good title. Well, maybe next year if
Next
it's
one.
not taken.
Next one.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that we're gonna play more shows. We definitely put our feelers out there. The biggest issue is just timing and being able to afford to be away from our families. I mean, we're all old and we all have real jobs now, so I mean,
Right.
until people are begging us to come back like Panic at the Disco, I think it's gonna be a little while before we have a big tour in the works. Will we have a couple of shows here and there? I think those are the plans that you may hear about in the
Right.
near future, but
Little
yep,
stints here and there.
little stints, little tastes. We want to tease you guys,
It's true. People are
the
doing that a lot these days.
the higher edging tour, 2024. I think that was already taken.
There's been a lot of teasing on the internet these days. Like, oh, let me put this one random picture up, and then a couple days later, now you're gonna know what we're talking
Hey,
about.
well, we got Blink 182 back, so I think there's been progress. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, everyone would have told us that we weren't going to see that. Though I was telling everyone that we would eventually see that, but I also told them that aliens were real, and they didn't believe me. And here we are, me and Tom, proving people wrong. So, yes.
Don't get Chris started on aliens.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
no.
want to get him started because then we might have to start like a new podcast,
That'd be great.
Well,
I'm
Tom
down.
DeLonge would appear. I mean, that's
There you go, Chris. You and Tom DeLonge can start another podcast
I
about
mean, if we want to
aliens.
get Tom DeLonge in a room, I mean, talking about music is cool, but talking about aliens will get him there. So,
There we go.
That might
Contact
be
his
true.
publicist and say, invite, talk about music and aliens. Maybe we'll put the aliens first.
We'll talk about
yeah, I think we should
aliens
say
and a little
we're
bit of
gonna
music.
briefly talk about music, but we are mostly going to be talking about aliens. Our guests, Tom DeLonge and Bob Lazar. Here we are. I'm
That'll
ready.
get him on, Chris. That'll get him on.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the podcast. We'll invite Joe Rogan. I mean, we get some celebs on these ones. So,
Man, I don't know if I could talk about aliens that much though.
I mean, you'd have to bring Tom. He can talk about aliens all day long.
Yeah. Oh, Tom. So,
Tom.
you were going to ask something before, weren't you, Chris?
I don't remember.
You
Wait,
don't remember now?
No, I did about
wait,
the
this is an interview. I thought we were here to talk about aliens.
it's what the aliens want you to think.
I told you. Told you it was real.
They're gonna flag this episode. They're gonna be like, there's a lot of alien talk on this one.
And you know, I definitely don't have this Laker game going on my phone right here. I mean, I definitely haven't been glancing at the score. 66-53. Sorry, Pelicans. If you're living in New Orleans right now, and you're a fan of the Hire, I love you and I appreciate you. And I think you'll win this next one, but I think my Lakers are gonna I think we're gonna tie this one up.
It's okay. If it was like football season again and the Packers were like in the playoffs and I was doing an interview, I'd probably have the phone
Cheese on
out
your head.
too. Hey,
That's
maybe I'll
okay.
just wear a cheese head all season
think you
long
should.
next year. Maybe.
Please do.
So I remember seeing you guys years ago in Chicago at the Metro. You guys did a small acoustic set outside after the show.
That sounds about right.
I did post a video and I'm pretty sure you guys reposted about it.
Yep. We'd like to do that. That was like our go-to thing. I want to say that was our brilliant idea, but we stole that from a band called The Matches.
Yes, the matches.
And if you love good music, then you have heard of the band called The Matches.
Mm-hmm.
They were on Epitaph with us, and we probably toured with them more than any other band that I think we've ever toured with. And good friends of ours. And Sean, all the time, would just come out there and pull out his acoustic guitar, and they would just bust out their songs. And it was almost more exciting than the show sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, just because everyone could be like next to him, you know, like on him and feel his sweat. Like that's who Sean is. And so it was really exciting to watch him do that. And so I wanted to feel that connection with our fans. And so we tried doing it once. And once we had done it once and someone had filmed it, they assumed that we would be doing it every show. And then it turned into that. And then we just said, you know, we'll do it every show that there's kids that ask for it, which is shooting yourself in the foot because there's always at least one kid that will ask for it, or at least one kid that's brave enough. And so they would do it. And it was always my favorite time to do a cover song, or my favorite time to do Pace Yourself, because we weren't always able to play Pace Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a slower song. It was like a more popular Higher song, but just it wouldn't fit right unless we were headlining.
Right.
And so it gave us the opportunities to kind of do those kinds of things, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, I saw the matches do a lot of acoustic sets.
Oh, that. I mean, like I said, we stole it from them. I mean,
Yeah. We even I was even at a show in Milwaukee. It was at a place called Mad Planet. And like Justin was there while Sean was doing it, and he like had this hair straightener or something, and he was like clacking it because he didn't have anything else to use as like an instrument, and it was so funny.
You know, he's a professional tap dancer now, right? Like he is legit. Justin is like a legit tap dancer. Tapper Dan. Yeah, for you kids watching this interview, go check out a talented gentleman who could make, you know, percussion with a hair straightener. Now he's doing it with his feet. Not to mention he can sing really well and play guitar like a madman. So anyway, love those dudes.
Me too. Lots of fond memories with the matches. So do you have, speaking of fond memories, I was going to ask if you have any fond memories from tour back in the day besides the matches.
I mean, I loved touring with all the bands we were able to tour with when we back then. Some of my favorite bands to tour with were usually bands that were on our label. I mean, we loved touring with Motion City Soundtrack and the matches. But before we were even on Epitaph Records, I want to say some of my favorite bands to tour with were a band from Drive Through Records, Halifax.
Mm-hmm. I loved Halifax.
We really loved touring with a band called Park, a band called Tokyo Rose.
Mm-hmm.
These are bands that if you were an emo kid, you knew them, and they are bands that people should know. And those are the bands that I wish were all coming back now. A band called Name Taken. I loved playing with a screamo band called The Bled.
I
They were
remember
on
them.
Fiddler Records with us. We would just, I mean, we really had a lot of really great tours that have really great memories. I would say if I'm going to tell a story, it'd probably have to be like the Epitaph tour.
Mm-hmm.
We did that tour with Escape the Fate, I Am Ghost, and the Matches. And that was when Escape the Fate still had Ronnie Radke in the band. And so that's what I would call the good old days. And Escape the Fate, all those guys were from Las Vegas, and so were
Mm-hmm.
we. So we were all Vegas boys, and we were all touring together around the country, and we were all obnoxious. And Ronnie definitely led the parade, the obnoxious parade, and we were in Cleveland, and we're about to play, and there's these people just walking down the street because it's like a college area that we were about to play, and we're standing out there trying to get people to come in, like the Hire and a couple of other bands. And then Ronnie wasn't with us. He just came out and saw what we were doing, and so he stands up on like some sort of table and starts not just saying, hey, we need you to come here. He starts really like ushering, no, hey, you guys are going in here. Nope, you're going the wrong way. Nope, in here. Not being forceful, but being as aggressive as possible. I would say as aggressive as a Las Vegas showgirl. And and he almost got in a fist fight where it turned out he said it to the wrong guys, and he's about to go on stage, and they're like looking for Ronnie to go on stage, and he's outside about to get in a fist fight with 3 or 4 dudes, and they had to take security and separate them and then bring him back inside so he could perform. It was it was a sight to be seen, let's say. And
Sticks in your memory fondly.
oh yeah, it fits fondly in my memory. Also, actually in Chicago, watching Ronnie and Max from Escape the Fate downstairs because they had just received some of their first royalties, and then they were rolling up $100 bills and lighting them on fire, which was awesome for us. Who
For us.
our like per diem that day was probably like $35. I think we were making $35 that day for the show each, but they were downstairs burning hundreds. At the time we thought they were idiots, but I mean, I think that worked out for Ronnie. He's fine. He's doing just fine now. So, you know,
He's doing just
oh
fine.
yeah, Ronnie, you lucky son of a bitch. And that guy, I love him too. We've got a lot of times where we would film the after acoustic, and Ronnie would come in and mostly make fun of me, but I mean also like he would join in with me because he did know the Usher song that I was singing, and every once in a while he would join in on it with me. He would mimic my vibrato, and he would but that's Ronnie for you. He honestly still to this day, I think gets a bad rap because he is a character, but he is actually honestly a good-hearted person. And I
Mhm.
know there's a million and one people out there cringing when I say that, but my experience with Ronnie Radke has honestly been all positive. So, I mean, what can I say? And he's a phenomenal singer, like an extreme talent.
Yeah.
An extreme talent. He his talent sometimes goes unnoticed because he is such a character that people don't realize he's really super talented. And he was
Yeah.
talented when before he was famous, is what I would say. Very talented, very, very smart dude.
Yeah, you were talking about Epitaph, and I'm trying to think. I'm like, did you guys ever tour with Matchbook Romance?
Oh God, I wish. Matchbook Romance stopped touring like right around the time we like signed with Epitaph.
Ah,
And so yeah, man, that was a band. I mean, there's so many bands that like I wish so badly that the Hire would have had a chance to tour with. That is a band that I would say high up on that list. I mean, the bands we always wanted to tour with Starting Line. We got to play with them. We always wanted to tour with something corporate or Jack's Mannequin or any one of Andrew's projects. He put us on a bunch of shows because he's a sweetheart and a really good dude, but we never got a chance to tour with those guys. I would have loved that. Some of my favorite bands, Branston. I would have loved to have toured with that band, Juliana Theory. There may be still a chance.
Never know.
You never know what the
People
future
are
could bring.
coming back. People are coming back.
Hey, I would love to tour with any of those bands. I mean, those are the bands that I listen to. That, I mean, if you ask me what my top emo bands, I mean, Juliana Theory, Branston, those would be definitely up there in the bands for me.
Yeah.
But I'm just stoked that any of these bands are making comebacks and making new music and even getting out there and touring again. It's great. So we're just happy that, you know, we get to do what we're doing now, is talking with you and letting people know that we have new music, and we just love all the new music that's coming out by all these other artists as well. So it's great.
Right. So do we. So do we.
Yeah, right.
So I've got a bit of a different question for you. I'm going to start it with a little bit of a setup here. So Johnny Depp says he got his screen portrayal influence from Keith Richards for Jack Sparrow. Do you have an influence for your stage presence?
Ooh, influence for my stage presence. I don't know. I would say that a lot of people would say that I have my very own signature moves that I can't say that I stole from anyone because they're mostly embarrassing. So, I mean, I do something where I'm hitting a high note. I get on my tippy toes. I know a couple other singers that do that as well. I have some very interesting vocal warm-ups where I'm just getting loud and making O sounds that I get made fun of still to this day. I do a cover band here in Vegas, and something that I definitely get made fun of. I definitely, you know what I mean? When Taking Back Sunday was swinging his mic around, I thought it was cool until I hit my friends in the face. And then they started bleeding from the head. And then I think that we stopped doing that. I wouldn't say that I necessarily got any like moves from anybody. I use my hips a lot. If I got any of my moves, they were from watching NSYNC and Usher, and they're nothing like NSYNC and Usher's moves. They're just a white boy trying to do his best. I mean, you should really see me when I perform Living La Vida Loca. I got the hips, you know?
Yeah.
So
Is there video of it? Because I'll look it
there
up.
is. My cover band is called Clockwork. Or sometimes I sub for a band called Velvet Elvis out here in Vegas, and we play down on Fremont Street a lot. And you look up those two names, you might see a long-haired dude like me singing.
I'm gonna
And
have
I
to
do
look it
cover
up.
stuff. Yeah.
Gonna have to see this hip action.
Yep. You're gonna have to see the action for real, for realsies, or just come to Vegas and see it for real. Our cover band plays out here all the time.
Yeah, I've never been to Vegas. I wanted to
It's
go to
always
When We Were Young Fest,
always a
but
good excuse to come for when we were young. That's what I would say.
yeah, I know. I just gotta have the money to do that.
Yeah, right. I mean, concert tickets have gone up in price just a little bit
Just a
from
bit.
from the $5 to $10 they used to charge kids to get into our shows before.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember Warp Tour because like Kevin Lyman always said he would always make it affordable, and he actually lived up to that.
He did.
It never was super expensive.
He did.
And he
That's
never made any money on it.
and that's probably why Warp Tour is not around anymore, unfortunately. I actually have no idea why Warp Tour is not around anymore. I mean, I would figure that he just got you know, tired of doing it every year, but I would have thought somebody was gonna like take the reins from him and like keep things going.
Yeah, I think on his podcast he talked about why he stopped Warp Tour, and I think his daughter originally was supposed to take up the reins, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I love that, and I love keeping things in the family because I'm a family guy. But I mean, emo is a family as well. And I'm sure that there's somebody that would love to take the reins of Warped Tour if they were blessed with being able to use the name, I guess. I imagine there's some
Yeah.
details
There was
that we
some
never know.
talk. There was some talk like Attila wanted to bring Warped Tour back, but then that
Yeah.
never happened.
Well, I mean, I would love it, and you never say never, but I mean, now that prices have gone up, I think that yeah, it'd be hard to bring it back with it being the same cheap price.
Right.
That's for sure.
I personally think When We Were Young Fest should go smaller scale and go on tour.
You know, I definitely agree with you. I think it's sad that only Vegas gets to have it. And I mean, the reason it's so packed is because everyone that went to Warped Tour is trying to come to Vegas for those 3 days. It
Right.
would be nice to, you know, have one that tours around so that it's not as crowded and you can
Right.
actually see the bands that you want to see. Because I will say that the only downside to When We Were Young is you'll probably want to pay for that extra VIP pass if you want to get close.
Right.
If you're one of those people who like to be close. See, if you're old like me, the regular pass is just fine because I like to be as far back as possible where the sound actually meets my ears and sounds good. So, but that's just an old grumpy man talking. So,
Yeah. When We Were Young, we should at least do East, Midwest, South, and West Coast. That's it. That's what that's
well,
all you
there's
gotta
lots
do.
of money. There's lots of money to be made. I'm sure they will. They keep throwing these other festivals together, and I like it when they do that, where it's just like, like you said, a little bit smaller scale, less bands. Even though I want to see all these bands, it's like if you get 8 bands that you want to see, or and they're all playing in order, you can watch them all. But if you come to When We Were Young and you want to see your 8 favorite bands, there's a good chance that 2 of your favorite bands are playing at the same time and
Right.
far away from each other. So that's the only downside, I guess.
Right. So, if you could describe your music to a grandma on the street, just a random grandma on the street, if you had to, how would you describe it?
I'd be like, "Hey, Grandma, I got this really good sounding music. You'd really like it. Here, listen to this. Here. Force feed it. Grammy." No, I don't know. If I was going to describe our music, I think that was really the question. You were asking how I'd force feed Grammy, and that's how I'd force feed Grammy on the streets.
Force feed Grammy,
Hey.
your music though.
Yeah, you're right. My music, I would say that we are very much the R&B version of emo. I think that is kind of the style, and with my voice and the way I sing, I very much have a lot of vibrato in my voice, and I like those styles of music. And so when we mix the pop and the emo and the R&B all together, I think that's what you get. You get the higher.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like a party in your ears.
What if grandma doesn't know what emo means?
Then I'd explain to her. I'd say, "Oh, classic rock. Have you ever heard of classic?" I did see All the Small Things on a classic rock station the other day, and I thought it really made me laugh real hard.
I mean, someday emo.
No, it's not someday.
emo-
It was on Sirius Radio like last
No,
week.
I'm saying in general, someday all emo music from back in early 2000s and stuff will be classic rock.
Will be classic rock. I would just say we write good songs and we don't scream. She would look at me. Grandma would be like, "Oh, your black shirt and your black pants. Do you guys scream?" And I would say, "No, we actually sing, and it sounds really nice." And maybe she'd like it.
Maybe she would. Maybe she would.
Not that screaming sounds bad to anyone else. Just I don't know. Grammy's stuck in her ways.
One less random one. So if you watch, just curious if you'd like to share with our listeners some of your favorite YouTube channels.
Our favorite YouTube what?
Channels.
I'm
Oh,
guessing
God.
he doesn't listen to this.
So yeah. So
Unless you watch
I think I
YouTube.
just gave it. I think I just gave everything away right there. I will have to be completely transparent with you. I don't even have a YouTube sign in. my girlfriend told me that that was the weirdest thing in the world, that I don't even have like a login to YouTube, even though I think somebody that was a fan of ours created a page for me on YouTube that I do not control.
Maybe it's a topic. It could be the topic.
I mean, I love you guys. I love your podcast. I love with the Bacon Guys podcast. I like listening to Guns podcast. I won't lie. I mean, the podcasts I watch or listen to are mostly like basketball ones. So Up in Smoke, with Matt Barnes and Stevenson. I mean, I can't say that I have 3 kids, so the podcasts I listen to are, hey Dad, can I listen to Sunroof on repeat on your Spotify? And I'm like, yes, just shut up and put your seatbelt on. So I mean, yeah, that's what I listen to.
Is that how that goes for you, Chris?
No, Link is more like when I bring him to school in the morning, he'll be like, Dad, can I watch Mario videos on your phone? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I mean, my kids definitely watch. We actually vetoed YouTube in our house, and it's come under great scrutiny by my girls. Everybody else in our class can watch YouTube, but we saw them watching some things that we kind of had to question ourselves. And so we were like, we'd rather you only are watching YouTube if we're at home and can accidentally wander into the room and see what you're watching. So I can't say there's a lot of YouTube going on here. So I don't think YouTube's going to be sponsoring the hire anytime soon. But I mean, we like YouTube.
Yeah.
We have
I
a
like
music
it and I
video out
don't like
on YouTube, is what I'm being texted by my guitarist right now. So check that
texting you
out.
right now. Huh.
Well, he was texting me. He's trying to get our tracks for the show that we have upcoming. And apparently I sent him the tracks, but without the click. So he doesn't know when to come in. And then I said, I'm in the middle of an interview. I'll text you afterwards. And then he started throwing me information that I probably should have had before we got here, but here we
Yeah.
are.
You live in Vegas. Have
I
you
do.
ever were you ever friends with Buddy from Censusville?
So I didn't ever really run into Buddy a lot. I heard from someone that he lives here, but had lived here.
He still lives there.
Is he still here?
Yep.
You know, I don't see him out. I don't drink, so I'm not cool and I don't go out. But I don't know. I heard from a couple of friends that every once in a while they'll see him out. You know, good
Well,
guy. I've
he
met him
is
back in the day.
he is
Like,
taking care of his kids all the time, so
that's good. That's what
yeah,
I do. So I've
exactly. So you guys
heard
are being
that.
good dads. You guys are being good fathers.
That's what I like. I like to hear good things. I like to hear Buddy still making music and touring around, and I saw them perform with the Used semi recently.
Yeah,
But yeah, good guys. And I think they just recorded, didn't they just record with Bo Burchell, that record, I think. I
maybe.
think they recorded with Bo or did some stuff with Bo. Seosin. When we had originally recorded our Star is Dead EP, we recorded it with Bo Burchell, who at the time had this dude sleeping on his floor named Anthony Green, who was trying out to be in a little band that he was putting together, who he had all 5 songs from the EP completely finished. I mean, everything was done except there was 0 vocals on them and no lyrics written to them. And I think he sent those to Anthony, and Anthony came and recorded them and like slept on the floor in his studio. And the rest is history, because what a great EP that was. Oh man.
Ah, yeah.
Small world, right?
Small world.
All us emo boys, we're all connected.